The following is intended only for mature audiences. Discretion advised.
This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Oh yeah, let's get it started. Let's bring the energy and the fun. It's Friday, and this is DR2M. Welcome to the show that's a little bit of everything rolled into one. I'm your host, the Jock, and I'll be rolling solo like a beer pong cup today. Double J had a little bit of a nasty fall and messed up his ankle pretty bad. Aww. I know. But he'll be back next week, and he'll let us know what the heck actually happened and how come his ankle looks like two fists put together. On today's show, we'll take a look at some news, notes, and trailers coming out of Comic-Con this past weekend in San Diego. We'll also look at some scary Big Brother-like activities that may be impacting your workplace very, very soon. But we'll start with your Detroit Pistons making news in what may be the norm for the Big Four in sports. Before we delve into that, we'll take a peek at what's in Jay's mouth. Since he isn't here, I'm going to speculate.
Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet. Miley Percocet, rep the set, gotta rep the set.
Yeah, Molly Percocet. I don't know, gotta get that swelling down on that ankle. All right, so your Pistons making a lot of news this week. They announced a deal with Flagstar Bank, which is based out of Troy, where Flagstar Bank will now be a sponsor on their jerseys. And yes, it'll be a 2.5 by 2.5 inch patch that's going to be placed over the left breast on the Pistons jersey. And this is big because you've seen this happen in soccer. You've seen this happen in Swedish elite hockey. Basically, the players are now roaming billboards on the field of play. And the Pistons are one of the very first teams in the NBA to have signed on to this ad sponsorship. And with Flagstar being a local company and being a major company in the Detroit area, this is a big deal, especially when it comes to impacting the Detroit economy. Now, Adam Silver's been on record of saying that this is a good thing, this is a new revenue stream, and it could eventually add $100 million annually for the players and the owners to share. Now, I have a little bit of an issue with this because at what point does the advertising take over what's going on the jerseys? Now, I don't want to see this become, like I said, what's going on in International League Soccer, what's going on in the Swedish Elite League with hockey, where you've got advertisement all up and down the jersey. You can't even tell what the logo is. So I think this is something to be wary of. Now, this looks to be the way that sports are trending, as the Lions have advertisers on their practice jerseys. The Red Wings are starting to do this as well. It's not yet reached college football. It is starting to creep into the major four sports, and this could be a sign of danger and some things to come, because at what point do organizations start rolling over and bending over for advertising deals with other companies? And yeah, this is going to contribute a ton of money to everybody in the league, but what does it do to your jersey? I mean, one of the best parts about being a sports fan is having that iconic jersey. I mean, the Detroit Tiger jersey, for example, is iconic. Everybody knows it. Everybody loves it, especially the Old English D hat. At what point do we start putting logos all over that? And now it looks like a plaid shirt that's been crisscrossed and mismatched with different advertisers. You know, I mean, you got Pillsbury on it. You got Pepsi. You got Coke. You got Gatorade. You've got all these logos all over everything. You don't even realize what the team logo is anymore. So I think it's something to watch out for. I think it's something to be leery of. The NBA announced in 2016 that there's going to be a 3-year pilot program that's going to allow teams to sell ad space on their uniforms. And the Cavs and the Boston Celtics, as well as the 76ers, are all working on securing deals. The Pistons were the very first to announce this and to go public with it. So it just, I'm curious as to how this is going to play out. The last thing I want to see is the Red Wings skating up and down the ice and like I said, there's a Coca-Cola advertisement on the back, you know? I mean, shoot, maybe the Detroit Sports Podcast Network will sit there and we'll rent out some space on the Lions jerseys, you know? You never know. I just think this is something where the league is transitioning into this, and I think it should be done very, very carefully because it becomes a very, very slippery slope. You do want to avoid dialing the jerseys up with all kinds of logos. I mean, pretty soon we'll see the Little Caesar man on the Red Wings jersey. Staying with some apparel, some fake memorabilia making its way around the Detroit scene. TJ Maxx in Chesterfield Township was selling what appears to be an officially licensed NFL t-shirt that proclaimed the Lions as NFC North 2016 division champs. Mind you, they missed winning the NFC North by one game when they dropped their final 3 games of the season before getting trounced in the playoffs by Seattle. So this shirt was selling at TJ Maxx in Chesterfield Township, like I mentioned. It was going for $4.99. Now, TJ Maxx has pulled this shirt off the rack and has offered a refund to anybody who has bought this shirt. Obviously, this shirt was made ahead of time, and usually what happens is when teams are on the verge of winning a division or winning a championship, a lot of shirts are made. Then what happens is the t-shirts or the manufacturing company ships them off to a place like Somalia, where the shirts will get distributed to the villagers or the people in the village so they actually have some clothes. Now, this is really weird. You never ever see these shirts actually pop up in the U.S. It's very rare that you ever see that happen. And the fact that it was at a TJ Maxx store and it was selling for some time now is a little bit of a head scratcher as to why it was selling. The thing is, if you did buy this shirt and you did have this shirt, it could be worth some money. Now, like I said, TJ Maxx has pulled these off the rack. They were going for $4.99. You can take them back if you'd like to get your refund on it. But I'd probably keep that. That would kind of be a collector's item. That's one of those items that you don't see every day. You don't have all the time. And, you know, it's one of those talking points. You could sit there and you could frame that thing. You know, it'd be an interesting piece to sit there and talk about. But thinking about this, I was curious as to whether or not you've ever had some fake memorabilia, whether it be sports, comic related, or maybe even clothes. I can think back to when I was a kid. I ended up getting a set of FUBU shorts and FUBU shirts, and I would sit there and I'd wear those quite often. They're like they came straight from the gas station. It was back when FUBU was kind of popular, if it ever was popular. It was popular in my neighborhood, I don't know. But as far as sports goes, I never had any fake sports memorabilia. I did, however, get drunk at a golf outing, and I spent like $800 on a Steve Yzerman framed picture, as well as a Henrik Zetterberg jersey that was autographed. The Steve Yzerman picture was also autographed. I was supposed to go back and get the certificates of authenticity. Never did go back and get those. So they might be fake, and that'd probably be my biggest purchase ever of something that could possibly be fake. But otherwise, I've been pretty good about not picking up the fake memorabilia and trying to steer clear of all of that. All right, we're going to step out, take a quick break, and we'll be right back to talk about some creepy sci-fi that may be popping up in your workplace. All right, guys, let me tell you about the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. This network is a podcasting network that is devoted to the best fans in all of the universe. That's the Detroit sports fan. We've got a wide variety of hosts that cover a wide variety of topics, all having to do with Detroit sports. So if you're a Tigers fan, we've got a Tigers Talk. If you're a Red Wings fan, we've got Red Wings Talk. If you're a Pistons fan, we've got Pistons Talk. If you're a Lions fan, we've got you covered with everything. So you're going to want to check out the Detroit Sports Podcast Network at DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Also follow us on Twitter at Detroit Podcast and like our Facebook. And welcome back. So, a company based out of River Falls, Wisconsin, called 3 Square Market, is envisioning a rice-sized microchip allowing employees to easily pay for items, access the building and their computers, all with a scan of their hand. The company provides technology for break rooms and micro markets. They have over 50 employees, and those 50 employees are planning to have a device implanted in their hand. Now, this is using that RFID microchip technology and getting that installed into your body so you can sit there and, again, access a building, access your computer, whatever it is you basically have to do at work. Now, this is some stuff straight out of a creepy sci-fi movie, if you ask me. I'm totally not on board with this. It screams of Big Brother basically stamping you and then watching you. Now, the company, like I said, is based out of River Falls, Wisconsin, and the CEO, Todd Westby, has said that they foresee the use of RFID technology to drive everything from making purchases in their office break room, opening doors, using the copy machine, logging into their office computers, unlocking phones, and sharing business cards, as well as storing medical and health information, and use it as payments at other RFID terminals. Eventually, this technology will become standardized, allowing you to use this as your passport, your public transit, and all other purchasing opportunities. Westby goes on to say that employees are not required to get microchipped, and there is no GPS tracking in this, so you can sit there and you can head home and you're not going to be followed with your microchip in you. But this right-sized microchip that's going to be placed in you just screams Big Brother taking control, and I'm totally opposed to this. I mean, yeah, it's great that we've got the technology for it, but at what point does this just become overload? And who's to say that the people who are controlling the technology are going to use it for good? You know, it just, I'm reminded of the book 1984 by Orson Welles, and I just see us ever so closely just inching our way towards a future like that where we're basically controlled and you're kept drugged in a drug state all the time. Now, the Food and Drug Administration has come out and they basically, back in 2004, said it was okay to have these RFID chips installed in you. A bunch of people tried them out. Around 3,000 Swedish residents are walking around with microchips in their hands right now. There's a company over in Sweden called Biohack International that started selling the chips and installing the chips at tech fairs in Sweden back in 2015. Again, just who's to say that these companies are going to use all this for good? It usually starts off in small pockets with people who are like, oh, this is great technology. We can use this for keeping track of this, that, or the other thing. And then next thing you know, it's spiraling out of control and basically you're being watched by Big Brother. And I'm totally uneasy with that. The CEO of Biohack, Johan Osland, said that he insists that the chip implant, which takes less than 2 minutes to put in, is safer than getting your ears pierced and is as dangerous as getting your blood taken at the hospital. Still doesn't make me feel really good about it, you know? It's just, I can't see this being highly productive. I've got friends who basically we're giant conspiracy theorists. Like, we think that the government is always trying to take everything over, trying to control everybody, and basically trying to dumb down the human population. And we feel like this is just kind of gearing you towards them being able to monitor you, track you, and control you. Right now, the RFID chips that are going into the employees in Wisconsin, they don't have any GPS technology, and so they say, but who's to say that they can't do some type of a software update, and next thing you know, they're able to sit there and follow you around your house when you're using the bathroom, when you're trying to get ready for bed, when you're walking down the street to go get some milk from the store. It just screams crazy sci-fi thriller movie to me. And I know myself, I would never, ever be willing to try something like this. And I don't necessarily like that companies are now sitting there trying to do this. I mean, how difficult is it for you to really log into your computer? You sit there, you punch your password in, you're good to go. If you can't remember your password, you call IT. They'll sit there, they'll reset you, and the next thing you know, you log in. How hard is it to remember to have a badge so you can get in and out of the office? You know? I mean, the Detroit Tigers are doing something similar here where they're now taking a scan of your fingerprint and allowing you to bypass security lines. I don't really like that either. Again, it seems like a lot of information, a lot of personal information about you that are now going to bigger corporations, whether it be a sports team like the Detroit Tigers, or whether it be, your employer, like this employer in Wisconsin. 3 square market, I don't think you need to sit there and put something in me, At what point do you sit there and you take back your rights as a citizen working for a private company and say, no, I'm not going to let you insert that into my body? It strikes me as being very, very scary, as well as odd and uncomfortable. I don't like it at all. I think it's terrifying. I mean, I don't even like RFIDing pets. I don't think that's necessarily safe. And another problem that Senate committees are sitting there trying to work through is all the information that's stored in the chip. I mean, now, mind you, this chip is roughly the size of your fingertip, if that. Now, what if these chips get hacked? You've seen it with your servers for your credit card company. You've seen it with your own email addresses. I mean, stuff that really isn't any interest to anybody else, but still gets hacked. I mean, your Facebook account gets hacked. What does anybody want to do with your Facebook account? So they can sit there and send game messages out to people so people can play a game? I mean, come on. So now this RFID chip's going to have who you are, where you live. I'm sure it's going to have some type of account information, whether it be a social security number or a credit card. It's going to have information that's incredibly personal to you. And yeah, somebody can probably get that stuff off of your computer, but still, this is something else. And again, you don't necessarily have control of it because it's now implanted in you. So if it does get hacked, where are you at? And who's to say again? All hell breaks loose, and next thing you know, the government's tracking you. I mean, you're putting a lot of power and you're putting a lot of trust in people that probably don't deserve it, if we're going to be at all completely honest about it. And even representatives in the Senate don't necessarily agree with getting RFID chipped, and they're a little bit nervous about what this could spell, because again, you're giving a lot of power to a few people who can then take advantage of it. So if it's me, I'm not getting RFID chipped. I'm going to be one of the last people in line waiting to get that done. I'm staying way clear of it. If for some reason somebody was able to sit there and hack your RFID chip, that's basically a Class C felony, and it's punishable between 1 and 5 years in prison, as well as a fine of up to $20,000. I mean, my personal information and my safety, it doesn't make me feel real good that that's going to deter anybody from wanting to do anything, because again, you got to find them. And the people who are sitting there hacking you are probably smarter than the people who are trying to trace the people who are hacking you. I mean, now these people have basically figured out a back door to get in. So it just scares the bejesus out of me, and I'm steering clear of getting anything crammed into this body right here. After all, it is a temple, but not really. All right, we're going to step out. We're going to take our last break here. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about what's been going on in San Diego. Comic-Con just took place. We may have a special guest, so stick around, and let's see what happens. Okay, and Comic-Con just wrapped up in San Diego, and there was a ton of news, as well as some trailers, and a bunch of hubbubaloo. Normally, Jay's here, and he can kind of facilitate the comic book talk, but since he's not, I went out, and I got us a special guest for this part of the show, and she's probably the sexiest nerd I know, and some of you, if you've been listening to the Doc and Jock program, you'll recognize the giggle there in the background. But I was able to sit there and procure my wife and get her to come on and fulfill in for Jay in this segment to talk comics, because she's a giant nerd herself. So right now I'd like to welcome my wife, the sexiest nerd I know, Lorraine Lolo Bino Garcia Strozynski. Write that out 5 times fast.
Hello.
All right, so you watched some of these trailers with me.
Yes.
You've been keeping up a little bit on some of the news.
Yes.
And I think I want to start with news and notes just to kind of get going here. We'll just kind of go from there, okay?
Okay.
Todd McFarlane, he officially announced that McFarlane Films has joined forces with Blumhouse Productions to create a new Spawn movie that will be a new look and not a continuation of the 1997 Spawn film. Have you ever seen Spawn? Do you know what Spawn is?
No, I have not, no.
You have no idea what Spawn is?
Completely lost on that one.
All right, well, Spawn is actually super awesome. If you're a Spawn fan, this is good news. You're super excited. We'll kind of move into some stuff that you do know about. So Ben Affleck states that he will stay on as Batman. However, he reportedly looked a little uncomfortable, a little sleepy, a little bothered by all of this. Now, Ben Affleck has been under some pressure to relinquish the role. A lot of fans are not happy with his portrayal. I know Jay loves Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm a little bit indifferent to it. How does this sit with you?
I think he does a great job. I think that he somehow portrays the character very well, and that mysterious personality that Batman has, it just fits him very, very well. So I do like him, and I do wish that as they move forward with the sequels and different movies that ties all together like they've been doing with the Justice League, that it kind of just, he keeps and just makes things, cohesive. So I do like him as Batman for sure.
All right, well, staying with DC, Warner Brothers announced that their next 8 films are going to come in this order. First up, after the release of Justice League, which we have a trailer that we'll talk about a little bit later on, in November, Shazam will be released. Reportedly, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is not Black Adams, like everybody suspected early on. After that, you've got Suicide Squad 2, then The Batman. Then we've got Justice League Dark, which has Constantine and some more ancillary characters that have a little bit of a dark side to them. We've got Flashpoint, which is the Flash movie. That's pretty awesome because Flashpoint was a comic book, and hopefully they hold true to the comic and they pull most of their material from the comic, because this was a monumental comic book that had everybody in the DC universe just raving about it. So pretty interesting there. Wonder Woman 2, that's a go. We also have Green Lantern Corp. So we're going to get another Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds will not be playing Green Lantern.
That's sad.
What, that Ryan Reynolds isn't playing Green Lantern? He hated that role.
But he was perfect for it.
For Green Lantern, he was perfect for Deadpool.
He was perfect for both. Just his character.
You just love Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, he's hot, besides the point. I'm just saying that, again, like, he's one character that played Green Lantern very well. Yes, it is one of those characters that when you sit there and you see it, it's not very fun, and it's just kind of like in the back of everything. Nobody really know much about it. But it's still, he was perfect for it. He just made the whole movie alive. I've never heard of Green Lantern until I went to see the movie, and I just fell in love with it, and I just thought it was good. And I remember that after we saw it, I went to you and I said, like, we need to make sure that we see it if there's a sequel coming out. And I remember that we also sat there and I read into it. Like you
went and you did some research on Green Lantern, and you realized that Green Lantern is a pretty integral part in all of the DC universe.
Isn't.
Yes, he is.
No, maybe I'm just not a DC fan.
You're not a DC fan.
Marvels.
And lastly, Batgirl will be coming out. So what they're going to do is they're going to expand upon the Batman universe. So you're going to get some offshoots. You're going to get a Batgirl movie. They're going to be doing a few other things to sit there and really build out on the Batman universe. Flashpoint and Justice League Dark were the 2 biggest surprise announcements from DC. A lot of people didn't expect to get Justice League Dark, as well as Flashpoint being the Flash comic that we're going to get. So that was pretty good news, and actually pretty exciting news. Something that you are a huge fan of, Marvel. You love Marvel?
Yes.
Marvel announced that we'll be getting an Ant-Man and a Wasp movie. They also released some artwork for Captain Marvel, which will have Nick Fury with 2 eyes, not 1. So you'll probably get to see how Nick Fury loses his 1 eye. Does that make you excited?
That would be cool. Yeah, it's just like Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the TV show. And it kind of just show Coulson from the movie Marvels. Which one was it?
It was from, I believe that was Captain America. I think it was the first Captain America movie.
Yeah, so you just...
Or it might have been the first Avengers movie.
I think it was Avengers. And you just see, like, his story afterwards, and, he died. Like, he had an alien weapon just blown through him, and you kind of just saw the TV show, and you just thought how they were able to bring him back, and it kind of just give you a little backstory and a little forward story and just ties everything together. So I think it's really, really cool that they're doing this, and they're just going to kind of show you what happened and what made, Fury what he is today.
So you get to build on Nick Fury a little bit more after you already had Coulson built upon.
Yeah.
All right. So we also had an interactive panel for the Black Panther, which comes out February 16th, 2018.
Now that I'm excited to see.
Pretty much the entire cast was on stage for some Q&A, so that was pretty cool. We didn't really get anything to kind of take home. Nothing was released online, so you've got really no images or anything like that, but the entire panel was there, which was really, really cool.
Yeah. And if you do have not seen the trailer yet, go online and look for it, because they have done a really good job with the trailer so far, so it was a really good teaser.
All right, and Marvel's The Defenders, that'll debut on Netflix August 18th, 2017. The first 4 episodes were leaked to the media, and basically what's coming back is it sounds like it's going to be a slow build to put the team of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist together. However, it sounds like it's a good story that ties everything and everyone together. So it's just going to take until at least the 4th episode where you'll finally get the team uniting, and then you've got the next 4 episodes that kind of carry you through, because it's only an 8-episode series.
See, that makes me sad. I do like what Netflix has been doing with all of these shows and how they've been tying it together with the nurse that kind of flew between Daredevil and then Luke Cage, and also with Jessica Jones when Jessica Jones met Luke Cage, and with Iron Fist as well. I am very, very sad after you and I were looking up online and, of course, doing our normal research when we watch TVs and shows in regards to DC's and Marvel characters, but that Iron Fist did not get a good review. I thought that the show was really good. Yeah, the fight scenes were kind of boring and kind of slow, but I just think that the storyline is really cool. And once again, I love how they have all been working hard to just tie everything together. So there's a continuation between characters and everybody getting along.
Out of the 5 miniseries that we've had 2 Daredevils, we had a Jessica Jones, a Luke Cage, and Iron Fist. We're not all the way through Iron Fist yet, but out of those 5 series, which one has been, I guess, your favorite?
I don't know. I think I would have to say Daredevil and Jessica Jones. I think that Luke Cage was really cool, but it just kind of dragged a little bit on his story. It's just a thing like, okay, you are a hero, great. You don't want to be called a hero and you don't want to do things as a hero, but you have been doing things as a hero. Just man up to it and just become one, or just put a mask on and just like everybody else does. So, but I think Daredevil and Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones was pretty cool. They need to come up with a second season.
Yeah, Jessica Jones was really good. Daredevil was pretty good. I think you're spot on, though. I think the Luke Cage story tend to stall out a little bit.
Yeah. It
seemed to have some really slow parts where just like, all right, come on, can we just get through this already?
Yeah.
Let's pick this up. So I thought that was probably the most upsetting out of all of it. Iron Fist, I think, has been pretty good. I'm really surprised that it's been basically killed by everybody who's given it a review. And I understand that it deviates quite a bit from the comic, but I think it's a decent story. I think it's a decent setup if you just kind of take it for what it is.
But I mean, I don't think that just because we have a comic, that there was a comic back in the day, I think that there's a good foundation for you to build something. I don't feel that you have to follow it, dead on. I feel that when you have a comic, like I said, it gives you a foundation. You're able
Comic book fans don't think that way. Nerds don't like that.
But I am a nerd, and it gives you something to build on. Like, it gives
you didn't know who Green Lantern was.
Well, that's fine. It's DC. Nobody cares about DC.
Nobody cares about DC.
But it just gives you something to build something good on. Like, I never heard of Luke Cage before either. I've never heard of Jessica Jones before. And those are all Marvel characters. I was, one of those girls that, for who doesn't know, I am from Brazil, and we used to have this Asian show called the Zodiac Warriors, and my brothers used to have action figures, and they used to be my Kens to my Barbies. That was the kind of girl that I was. So all that I'm saying is I just feel that comics give you a good foundation for you to build something good in, and the way that they have done it with Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and Luke Cage, and Iron Fist, they have been able to build something to put everything together and just move on from. And Marvels have done that even with all of the other characters out there, the Avengers and Captain America and so on, and just built this huge universe, even with TV shows, with Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and they have been able to just keep people intrigued and entertained and reading online and doing comments and liking all of this stuff. So I think that they're doing a good job, and I think that comic book nerds, how you are referring to, would just have to keep like an open mind. I mean, just, if you read the books, if you read the comics back in the day, and now you're seeing, these movies, just keep an open mind. I mean, it's not like that they're murdering completely. So I really think that they are doing a good job with it.
All right. Well, you're a fan of Legion, and Legion's showrunner, Noah Hawley, announced that he's possibly working on something in regards to a show for Doctor Doom with Fox. So it'll probably be produced, and if it is produced, it'll most likely go on FX like Legion's on FX. So do you know who Doctor Doom is?
I've heard about it. I can't recall right now.
Okay. Doctor Doom generally is the arch nemesis to the Fantastic Four.
Yes, I do remember. Okay.
So that should be interesting. If they do if FX picks it up,
Legion.
Yeah, if FX picks it up and they're rolling like they roll with Legion, I'm super intrigued, and I think it's going to be awesome.
I mean, Legion was just spectacular. The way that they just did everything, the mind games, just trying to just understand how everything's being played, and you don't even know what is true and what is not true, and what is, out of his mind and what is not, and how the parasite, and it's just like so freaking awesome. And it's one of those shows that, Adam, he sits there and he watches TV shows, and very slowly he kind of gets bored with them.
I get bored super easy.
So he sits there and he starts doing other things where he's watching. He's, on his phone and chit-chatting, or just on his computer, just completely like,
I've got ADD. I get super bored super easy, and a lot of these programs tend to lose me somewhere in the middle.
So, but Legion was one of those shows that actually caught his attention and kept him entertained. So if you have not seen Legion out there, I truly, truly recommend. It was probably one of the best TV shows that I have seen so far, and it was amazing how they did everything. So if he's doing another show, I'm pretty sure it's just going to be great.
Hopefully it will be. And some post-Comic-Con news, it's being reported that Daniel Craig, one of my favorite James Bonds, one of the James Bonds that I wasn't sure I was going to like, but then I fell in love with, will do at least one more James Bond movie.
He's also hot, by the way.
That is scheduled to be released on November 8th, 2019. Two people with information close to the deal say the deal is all but done. So that's a good thing, especially if you like some continuity in your characters. Yes. I hate when they sit there and they change James Bonds. I love Daniel Craig as
James Bond.
I do love James Bond. I love Daniel Craig as James Bond. I think he's outstanding.
He also was perfect for that role. And I mean, if they're making another movie with him, I think that's great. But I really don't think that there's anywhere else they can go, because they have redone James Bond so many times.
This will be the 25th James Bond movie.
And
25.
And they're all the same stories.
No, they're all different stories. They follow a certain formula. You've got the hot chick who's bad.
How many remakes do you have?
You've got the one chick who's a little bit nerdy, a little bit awkward, not as hot as the one chick who's bad.
How many remakes do you have?
You got your bad guy, you got James Bond, and then you've got your crew that helps James Bond.
You have many remakes. I think that
James Bond?
Yeah.
No, they're all different movies. They tell different stories. But again, it's a formula. They have a formula. You know what you're going to get with a James Bond movie.
But I think that James Bond is getting to the point. It's like, okay, we're over it.
No,
you're awesome.
You'll never be over it. It's one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest characters ever. One of the greatest characters ever. He's been around forever.
I think exactly that's the problem.
It's one of the best characters
James
ever.
Bond had its prime time.
And here's the deal. When James Bond's in the movie theater, guess who will be going to watch it? You and I.
Of course we will.
That's right. It's one of the greatest characters of all time.
To every single James Bond. I think that the only reason why I learned to appreciate it was because you were so intrigued with it, and you're just like, come on, let's go see it. Let's go see it. Like a little kid in a candy store, if you just set it free and says you can have whatever you want, that's you in regards to James Bond.
James Bond's great. One of the best characters ever.
Okay.
All right, you want to move on to movie trailers?
Sure.
Okay, let's move on to movie trailers. Coming out of San Diego's Comic-Con, we've got a lot of movie trailers. And now, if you haven't put it together yet, San Diego Comic-Con is the big Comic-Con. We've got Comic-Con here in Detroit, and it's usually a pretty cool event. This year, Vito and I got to go attend it, and we got to cover it for the network. But Comic-Con is usually, in San Diego, it's one of the biggest events of the year. And usually with San Diego's Comic-Con, we get a ton of trailers. We get a ton of movies that are about to come out. So the first movie I want to start with is Ready Player One. That's getting ready to release on March 18th, 2018. This is a Steven Spielberg movie. He's been working on this movie for quite some time. It takes place in Ohio in 2042. It's based on a virtual reality that's based off of a video game. Visually, it looks pretty sweet. However, I think both of us agree the story may be lacking.
I don't even think the visually was that great. It's just...
You had some pretty cool things in there. You had the Iron Giant, you had Akira's bike.
But like, imagine you're sitting on a couch and you buy one of those new things that Samsung has for you to watch the videos on.
Right, the virtual reality.
The virtual reality. And it's just what it is. And it just, like you said, the story is lacking. There's not a lot there. And it just seems
that's
very...
what you got from the trailer. I felt like they maybe could have did a little bit better job with that trailer.
Exactly, but that's what the
you have no idea what you're getting here.
But that's what the trailer is for. The trailer is for you to sell your product. It's for you to draw people, for you to get that urge for people's like, oh my God, that was great. I need to go see. I need some follow-up on it. So I don't know. The trailer was really bad, and I just didn't. That would be one of those movies that will definitely not be spending the money to see.
We got about a minute and a half into it together as we were watching all these trailers.
And we both were like, yeah, we're good.
Yes. I paused it, and you're like, I'm bored. And I was like, yep, me too. So we moved on.
Yeah.
It seems like it's lacking a little bit.
Yeah. If you know the background story and you're, a fan of it, like Adam said, yes, the graphics are pretty good, so it would be a good thing for you to go see. However, if you are not very familiar with it, I truly don't recommend based on the trailer itself.
Yeah, it seemed a little bit boring. We got Thor Ragnarok. That's going to launch November 3rd, 2017. In this movie, Thor continues his epic journey as we build to the Infinity Wars. Along the way, he picks up the Hulk, who, by the way, now has a vocabulary and has the ability to speak. This movie looks funny.
Awesome.
It looks awesome, and it seems like it's got a little something for everyone. I personally can't wait for this movie because it looks great.
Oh yeah, again, they have done amazing jobs with those movies, and Thor, again, he's hot.
Do you like him with the short hair or the long hair? He gets a haircut in this movie.
Yeah, I just like Thor.
Oh, okay. No shirt.
Yeah, I'm good there.
Preferably no pants for you, huh?
I just don't know. I'm good. Anyway, they did an amazing job. If you have watched the trailer of the scene of Thor fighting with Hulk and he just gets all excited, oh, I know him, he's my friend, we actually used to work at our other jobs, and, Hulk just go ahead and smashes Thor just like he does in the Avengers, so it's kind of cool just to see it again. But yeah, the trailer looks amazing. Again, that is one thing that the other movie that we just talked about should have done, is just, draw in your audience and show the things that are important.
You get a little bit of the storyline.
Exactly.
You know what's going on.
You know what's going on, and you know what to expect. And, I'm sure that they're still going to be surprised in the movie which you watch, and that's the reason why we go see it. But it did, it was very interesting to see, and I can't wait. It looks really, really good.
It looks awesome. Moving on to another comic book movie. Justice League will be coming out November 17th, 2017. Now, it looks like DC did a real good job with this movie, better than the Batman vs. Superman movie. While I was watching the trailer, I got chills probably for the last minute and a half of it. At the end of the trailer, you see Alfred say, "I knew you'd come," which has led to a ton of speculation that it's either Superman who has come,
we all know it's
or
Superman.
It's Green Lantern. Now, there's some speculation out. Now, both of us thought that it was Superman.
I think it's Superman. If you watch the last movie and you actually, Batman versus Superman, and you've seen that once Superman was buried, you got the little bit of dust.
Spoiler, by the way. Spoiler.
Sorry. And you've seen that the dust was coming out. He can't die, which is the only thing that everybody has to hate about Superman, is the fact that...
That's why I hate Superman.
I don't even know how the heck you would kill the guy.
Kryptonite.
Just make him eat it,
Kryptonite,
or shove that into his body or something.
It's the only way you can kill Superman.
But,
that's why he's the worst character ever.
As you guys can see how he feels about Superman. But anyway, I really think it's Superman related to how the movie ended. And it would make sense, because if you are, again, for comic book nerds, if you're staying through to the story, Justice League included Superman.
Superman was actually the one who put the Justice League together.
Well,
they flipped the script a little bit by making Batman do it.
Which is fine. But, at the end of that movie, you sat there and you're like, wait, what? He can't die? Mm-hmm. What happened? And then they showed a little bit in the end where the dust above the coffin is coming up. And then you sit there and you watch the trailer for this and you're like, it has to be. Come on. It only makes sense.
Well,
again, they're drawing to your audience and they're showing the storyline and they're making you intrigued that you want to go see it.
Let me play devil's advocate. So they do have a Green Lantern movie that they're preparing to release in the future. So this could be the hook to get you back in with Green Lantern. That's why some speculation that it might be a Green Lantern movie. But I do believe it's probably Superman. And if you look at any of the graphic artwork, they have all the symbols of all the characters, and Superman's is up there.
I don't even know where they're going with the Green Lantern if they're not using Ryan Reynolds to do it, because at this point it
was a horrible movie. You need to scrap it.
So you're gonna
how many Spider-Man movies have we had?
Too many.
Yeah. So you just scrap it and you start over. That's all. You can introduce Sinestro. It could be real good. They could do a real good job with it if they don't screw it up. And DC has a propensity of screwing up their own movies.
They have been doing a good job so far. So
Batman vs Superman was Wonder Woman. For some reason we haven't been able to go see it, but Wonder Woman I heard is great. So if Justice League can follow in the footsteps of Wonder Woman, I'm all for it.
And what was the other one that DC did?
That wasn't any good.
That was really good.
That was really good?
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Suicide Squad was really good. I mean, yeah, just like Marvel's. You have a hit or a miss, but I think that DC...
Marvel hits on 9.5 out of 10.
All I'm saying is you got to keep an open mind, because I think that DC is actually stepping up. And
this is the thing. Marvel does a great job with their real-life action movies. DC does a great job with their animated movies. Now, conversely, Marvel totally sucks, and I shouldn't say totally sucks. Marvel's animated movies leave something more to the imagination. They usually tend to fall a little bit flat, while DC's just hit on every single level. They're exceptional. It's like adult animated shows. They end up sitting there and they walk that line of almost being rated R.
Wait, you just contradicted yourself. You said the Marvels go flat and DC's doing an outstanding job.
No, I said Marvel. I said what Marvel does in their real life action movies is outstanding. What DC does tends to fall flat. Now, conversely, you flip flop it on the animated side. Marvel does an Marvel does a so-so job, while DC does an exceptional job. So if they can somehow merge, like Marvel doesn't need to do anything, but if DC can somehow get their animated team over to the real life team, it'd be great.
I don't know. I think they're doing pretty good.
All right, let's move on. Lego Ninjato movie. This comes out September 22nd, 2017. Now, I thought this was funny as hell. I was laughing so hard. It looks like it's well done, like the Batman movie or the Lego movie. It looks awesome.
I thought the Lego movie was... Yeah, it was a good time killer. I don't think it was all that exciting and great.
I thought the Lego movie was outstanding. Anytime it's on TV,
how long did that darn song kept stuck in your head forever?
It's great.
Everything is awesome.
See? It's a good movie.
It never is going to leave.
It's a good movie. So you don't want to go see this? We're going to go see this.
We're probably going to go see it.
Just want you to know, we're going to go see this.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe we'll get a free movie pass from MJR or something.
There you go.
All right, Kingsman, The Golden Circle. That drops September 22nd, 2017. So it looks like on that day we'll be doing a doubleheader, maybe a matinee and an evening movie. This movie looks pretty good. It's a lot of action. It picks up after the first Kingsman movie, and it ties in a group of spies from the United States. I think this has some potential. I'm a little bit nervous about it. I thought the first Kingsman was very good. This one looks like it'll be good. I'm just nervous about it. This looks like a movie that has a chance to totally miss the mark.
From what I have seen from the trailer from Kingsman 2, I think that they have done a good job. If they do keep up the same, I guess, guidelines that they did for the same movie, which it seems that they do, that they have done, I think it's going to be good. I'm not sure, however, I feel about Channing Tatum playing in that movie. I don't see him as that kind of character playing in fight movies like that. After seeing him in Magic Mike, he's just kind of like, you're just so not cut up for stuff like this.
What are you talking about? You remember Jupiter Ascending, right? It was a horrible movie, but...
It was a horrible movie, exactly, and he was awkward in that role. He like, you look at him and he doesn't have that ability to speak in a way where it kind of draws you in, when you're watching a movie or when you're watching a romance and a suspense and people are talking and just like, oh my God, and you get in the edge of your seat. Watching him doing action movies like that, he's just like, weird.
He's like a cardboard box, eh?
Kinda. I mean, it's nice for the eyes, again. It just, that's the only thing that I'm kind of about it. But of course, we're going to be going to go see it because apparently what we do.
It's what we do. All right, so Star Trek has a new series that they're about to release, Star Trek Discovery. Now, this is going to debut September 24th 2017. This is going to be on TV. It's going to be on CBS. This television show sets roughly 10 years before the events of Star Trek, the original series. Now, that was released a long time ago. It's what my mom used to watch, and then I watched it on syndication back in the 80s. The show has the Klingons looking to unite their 24 great Klingon houses, leading to a Cold War between their race and the United Federation of Planets, and this all involves the crew on the USS Discovery. It has no connection to the movie series that's going on currently, but it is the prequel to what took place a long time ago. Do you have any interest in seeing this? Will this be set on the
not
DVR?
at all. I mean, if you have watched The Big Bang Theory, you are either a Star Wars fan or you're either a Star Trek. I am not a big fan of Star Trek. For some reason, it just never caught my attention. It just wasn't interesting to me. I prefer Star Wars. I will go see them all. I will go re-see them all. But Star Trek, I think I'm going to be okay on.
I think I might give this a shot. Similar to what you're saying.
And I'll probably be dragged to go see it too.
Well, it's on television. This is either you are a Star Wars, either you're Wars or you're Trek. It's one or the other, generally speaking. So I'm more Wars than I am Trek, but I will give it a shot and I'll see. It might be a hit, might be a miss. I'm not really sure. It looks like it's going to be interesting. It looks like it's well done, well put together. So we'll give it a shot. We'll see. That kind of wraps this up. There was a ton that came out at San Diego Comic-Con. We kind of scratched the surface a little bit deeply here. Probably didn't get as deep as we would like to, but we've already been talking for over 25 minutes about comic books and movies and everything that kind of got released from San Diego. You have anything good going on this weekend that I don't know about?
No.
No?
We're going to the Tigers game on
We're going to the
Saturday
Tigers game.
for Father's Day.
That's right.
I know it's way past it, but for Father's Day.
For Father's Day. Yeah. We'll be taking my two dads.
No, that's it.
All right.
You know, if you're not a nerd, be nerd.
Be nerd.
Be nerd.
Be nerd.
Watch the movies. It's awesome.
All right. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at AdamRStroz. You can also follow the Detroit Sports Podcast at Detroit Podcast. Super interactive. We engaged with everybody who engages with us. Always looking for anything awesome that you got out there. Just tag us in it. Tweet us. Send us something. We don't care. We'll sit there and we'll talk with you. We'll have a conversation, whether it be about sports or whether it be about all things nerdy. So reach out to us, and as always, we'll see you when we see you.
Bada boom! Realest guys in the room!
The fuck are you doing?
Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, rep the set, gotta rep the